Welcome to the Nicholas 11x12 technology. Today I'm finally going to take a look at a gaming keyboard again, a mechanical one. The Cooler Master CM Storm Trigger Z keyboard with the brown switches. Now this keyboard comes with quite neat features, which we'll discuss in a moment. But I want to point out that this Trigger Z is available with 3 different Cherry MX switches and LED illuminations respectively. Cherry MX Blue, brown and red switches. Blue illuminated with blue LEDs, brown with white ones, and red with red ones. The Trigger Z currently comes in at a price of around $110 depending on the shop of course. Fair pricing. Thank you very much Cooler Master for sending me this keyboard and making this review possible. The keyboard is well packaged. Inside the box, what else would you expect, is the Trigger Z keyboard itself, the wrist rest that you can attach, the nicely braided detachable USB cable, the key puller, and last but not least, documentation with useful information. The Cooler Master CM Storm Trigger Z is a very good looking keyboard in my opinion. The design is kept minimalistic, which is one reason I find this keyboard to be so attractive. However, that's always a thing of preference in the end. I'm glad Cooler Master decided to include a nice large wrist rest for this keyboard, which can help against fatigue, especially when typing for hours. The attachment of the wrist rest to the keyboard works fairly well, and both the rest and the keyboard have that nice rubberized coating on them to enhance grip. The USB cable is nicely braided, is 1.8 meters long, and most importantly is fully detachable. Once again I'm testing the version with the Cherry MX brown switches, which comes with a white LED backlight. The Trigger Z features a 64 key rollover, a polling rate of 1000 Hz, 1 millisecond, and as for the onboard memory, we get 128 kilobytes to store profiles, macros, and settings. We get 5 dedicated macro keys on the left side of this Trigger Z. Whether the side or the top is the ideal placement for these remains to be a thing of preference though. Speaking of macros, such can be recorded easily in real time or via the software that can be downloaded from Cooler Master's website. The keyboard of course also features programming profiles, 5 in total, and as we can see in the software, most of the keys can be reprogrammed and macros can be assigned to the keys. Hardware macro playback is featured here with an ARM 32-bit 72 MHz CPU for quick response of macros. The dimensions of this Trigger Z are the following: 476 by 253 by 38 millimeters. The weight is at 1516 grams. The keys are laid out very well, I have no complaints here. Also thanks to Cooler Master for sending me the US layout version. I really appreciate that. The font on the keycaps looks cool. The typing feel of these Cherry MX brown switches is pretty good and very satisfying. Over 50 million keystrokes are guaranteed for every single key on such keyboard. As with many other gaming keyboards these days, this keyboard is also equipped with a WinLock key, which basically locks the Windows key. Let's talk about the LEDs a little. The LED illumination can be turned on and off. The brightness level can be changed as well, 5 levels. And a very cool feature is the LED mode. We can either have the LEDs always on, go for the breathe effect, or just light up the important gaming keys. Unfortunately, these can't be set in the software, but we can't expect that at a price point of $110. We also get media keys, the second function of the F keys. Play, pause, stop, rewind, fast forward, mute, and volume plus minus. The software is pretty straightforward to use, and recording and saving macros works well. On the bottom of the Trigger Z we get decent rubber feet to keep the keyboard nicely in place on the desk. We even get some on the wrist rest. While the Trigger Z almost seems to be perfect, there are minor drawbacks as well. The LEDs for the num caps and scroll lock, for instance, are too bright in my opinion. Another thing that could have made this Trigger Z better is an USB or headphone mic pass-through. However, most of the time, most of us don't use these features anyways, because they often turn out to be very unreliable. But that's all I can say for the drawbacks. The CM Storm Trigger Z is built extremely well, almost anyone can tell that. Not just the switches themselves, but also the whole keyboard frame is built well. The wrist rest is large, which I always like, and is soft. The LEDs and the effects they come with are great, and same can be said about the macros. For those of you that are on the go often will find the detachable USB cable very useful. Overall, I personally am really satisfied with the Trigger Z, and its price is very fair, you get what you pay for. This keyboard passed my test and will from now on stay on my desk, replacing my previous Gigabyte Avia Osmium mechanical keyboard. I'd definitely recommend this Cooler Master CM Storm Trigger Z gaming keyboard. While it is very good, it's still not perfect, but it deserves my Silver award. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and visit my website to see videos there earlier than on YouTube.